So, I decided to make this video after a lot of consideration and thinking, because ever since the last video I made, which was titled Stop Playing Roblox, a lot has changed. And a lot of people were like, why are you saying stop playing Roblox and then you're endorsing groups on Roblox? And I'm like, well, technically I haven't retired yet. And they're like, yeah, but your video wasn't about your retirement. It was about you saying other people to not play it, and now you're endorsing projects. And, it is kind of true, because after I made that video, I did say to people, I'm not going to endorse any more of these projects. So I'm going to explain why I made that video, and I'm going to explain why my view has changed, because it has. People have been asking me this question, and you guys are right. I did kind of go back on that, but there's a reason why I made that video, and part of it was not because I had this unfiltered hatred for Roblox and it's like the worst game in the world, but more so just at the time it was inconvenient for me. And so you notice we've got this group and everything, but we'll get into that later. The reason I made that video was because at the time, a friend of mine who I'm very close with was making a group called Greater America. This group was, I would say, pretty active. It got 50 people on its Game Chicago, rallied quite a few members, but it died very early into it because of exploiting and DDoSing. At this point in time, this platform was hated by me because you couldn't run ads anymore. The DDoSing was rampant. The swatting was becoming a big deal. You couldn't be active in the game because of the DDoSing. Also, you had big exploiting issues, and it was a miserable experience. And the experience that Patrick had, which is my friend who ran Greater America, was something that other groups also were struggling with, and it was a repetitive process. At this point in time, I was doing a lot of stuff in real life, a lot of great work. I was in DC, I was in New York, I was in Phoenix, I was in a couple other cities doing some important business work. And I figured that instead of these people playing this game, trying to quote-unquote build empires online, they could help me with what I'm doing in real life. A lot of these people didn't want to do that, though, because a lot of them don't like politics, and I forgot, oh shit, that's right. The community that I built wasn't built on political ideas, it was built on collectivism and an interest in gaming. So I said, all right, then we'll do another game. And the idea of the Vibe Tribe, which was outlined in that video, was to be a game night server. We play games, we watch movies. Okay, we do other projects. We can do an Unturned World War II server. No, we're going to do a Bannerlord medieval server. No, we're going to do a Gmod DDR roleplay. The issue with these servers is that it never truly fulfilled any sort of purpose. And then I formed the Xanderist crew. And the Xander crew was supposed to recreate the same kind of energy we had when I was on Roblox, but recreate it online with these projects. And we tried that for a few months, and then that didn't work for whatever reason. And so we kept doing these online projects again and again and again in our free time because of this online community that I've built, which has been around since, I would say, 2016, and nothing worked. And for a multitude of reasons. Some people didn't want to spend $20 on a game, and keep in mind we're accommodating hundreds of people. Some people got bored of the everyday Hearts of Iron 4 game nights or movie nights that we had. Some people just didn't like the game. Some people just don't like Gary's Mod, or they don't like Unturned, or they don't like Bannerlord, or maybe it's the era. For whatever reason, this idea and this plan did not work. Usually when I create projects, as I have in the past, they're usually extremely successful. If you look at any project on Roblox, Octavia, Korea, NPR, SR, they all were successful. They either completed their goals or completed their goals beyond the goals that I had already set. Everything that we have tried to do on every other platform has in some way failed. There are some ways we succeeded. I could say that with Bannerlord Octavia, it lasted 1.5 months, and we peaked at 30 active people in game. That's really good for a Bannerlord project. However, it didn't last long because everyone got bored of it. So the idea of using the Vibe Tribe as a hub to build an online community has ultimately failed. But there's good news. The reasons why Roblox was so unappealing, and the reason why I said for people not to play the game, are no longer valid because DDoSing has failed. It's no longer on the platform. Exploiting has failed. It's no longer on the platform. Many of the people doing the swatting, many of the people that hate me and want to ruin my life over playing this game have disappeared. Whether they're literally in jail for committing crimes like swatting or whether it's because they've moved on, it makes the platform a lot more hospitable. But that's not the only reason why. The other reason is because Patrick returned to the platform, and we had a long conversation about it, and Patrick said, look, you have a server called the Vibe Tribe, you're trying to grow it, and people want to do something. They want to be active in a project, and you don't have to return to this game, but trust me on this, I will make a group, it will rally this many members, it will achieve this much activity, just trust the plan. And so I said to him, okay, sure. And Patrick returned to this game. He made a group called Greater America, as most of you already know. The group was not that successful, but he promised me that it was going to last 3 months. He promised me it was going to rally this many people, gather this many people, and do this, this, and that. And he did. His group rallied 80 members the first rally. The second rally, he rallied, I think, 90 or so. His game Manhattan had an average of 60 to 90 people on every day for a straight week, maybe 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't religiously checking the game, but I remember seeing screenshots of the game's activity every day from Patrick, and he'd brag about it. The game eventually got deleted, and that's where things went downhill, and obviously I wasn't really there for that, but I know that his project was very successful. Now, why a lot of people are concerned about my involvement is mainly because I was in the background. I was in all the Discord servers. I also was in the World War II community. I got a DM from someone. He's not actually someone that plays Roblox or was a part of it at one point, but someone that I know in real life. And he said, why are you so obsessed about you being retired and left from the platform when you are considered the owner of the rwwii World War II server? And so a lot of this is a lot of yapping, for lack of a better word, but we're getting there. And I said, well, because it's a Discord server, it's a Discord community, but most of the activity comes from Roblox. But I do game nights, I do town halls, a lot of the activity I do on it is Discord related. And he said, well, listen, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. It's just like, it sounds like that you're very successful with building these online projects on Roblox. But yet every time anyone that's in the AF community, for those who don't know, the America First community, my real life friends, I make it sound like that if I touch that game, it's a sin. And he said, it doesn't make any sense. None of us care. If you ever returned or played the game, how is it going to be so bad? Is it like a drug? You immediately become addicted and there's withdrawal effects, And he made a very good point. I talked to some other friends. I even talked to a coworker about it. Well, I say coworker, but he used to be my employer. And he was actually, we were in this interview, and he'd known me for a long time. This was kind of like a multiple interview process type of deal. And after his background check, we talked for a while, and he mentioned that he knew that I played Roblox, which is very funny because I didn't really talk to this guy online, or didn't really know about my online persona all that much. But this is an in real life guy that I've known, that I work with all the time. He's relatively conservative. We agree on most of everything. And he asked me this question. He mentioned that I played Roblox. He mentioned some of my videos. And the first thing he said, his first question was, is there an ability to rally these people and utilize them? And I said, well, what do you mean by that? Rally these people? These are a bunch of online people. Most of these guys are kids, I said, and this is back in like 2022, now most of these kids are like 18, 19, quote unquote kids. And he said, well, your job is to be a youth leader. You're supposed to build chapters at colleges and high schools. You're supposed to build a youth movement in real life. And it seems like, you could have done that online. He said that I could have been more effective at doing it online because just of the platform that I had access to. And he said that, I could do that in real life, but he actually encouraged me to go back to doing what I did online because it built a persona, it built a personality, it built an influencer type persona where I could go on the media and give my takes and talk about my beliefs. And I had to explain that's a video game. These are not political operatives. These are mainly kids and youth. But it did give me an idea because it is a game that was very good at. And so And a lot of my friends have told me, like, you know, I should make a game on it, that they would play it, that they would fund it, they would invest. You know, I've had some people that I've met at meetings that I'll befriend and talk to for months, and I'll let them in on the big secret. Yeah, I used to be a Lego dictator. And then they'll joke about investing. They'll say if you make a business, an online business, I'll invest 1,000 USD into it. And it's like, you know, you're joking. And, you know, and some of these guys, you know, I haven't actually reached out to them and asked them for the investment, but it just goes to show that maybe all along I am the one making a big deal out of this game. Maybe it really isn't a big deal, and maybe the idea of trying to stay away from it is really just an over-dramatic, over-exaggeration. And why was I like that? I mean, I think that originally when I quit the game, it felt like I needed to continue into real life because the game was a distraction from doing stuff in real life. But now that I have a career and now that I am somebody in real life, you know, I'm basically on the verge of being a graduate from college. I've already applied. I'm already accepted, you know, that from being graduated, you know. I do a lot of in real life business. I have a big group of friends in real life that I associate with. I hate to talk about my political life in regards to talking about this game, but I kind of have to for the sake of argument. It really isn't that big of a deal. And I think I made a big deal out of it because there was just that pressure. A lot of people that play this game say that, you know, when you play this game, you can't be doxxed. You can't dox yourself. If you talk about this game outside of the game, you're going to get laughed at. You're going to get humiliated. No one's going to take you seriously. And that whole kind of I'm not going to say I peer pressured from that, and that's why I quit or stopped playing, but I think that it was kind of an effect. You know, I kind of had that idea like, okay, I got to be careful talking about this game. I'll just say I was in high school, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And that being said, you know, the idea of being around this game, I don't think it's that big of a deal. When people DM me and say like, oh, you're not retired, you know, or you're coming back, you know, what about your promise? It's like, well, you know, who's going to enforce that? Who's going to enforce that? And so that's the main reason why I've changed my take on this game. Because I honestly think that I was wrong, but more so dramatic. And the second reason is because a lot of things that I hated about this game and didn't like and disagreed about, those elements are no longer there. A lot of the problems that persist on this platform that pushed me into leaving are absent. I don't have to worry about that sort of thing if I ever wanted to come back. Now, the main reason I made this video was to address if I'm coming back. I said in multiple podcasts and multiple interviews, discussions, that I would make a video going over this. And that's what this video is. And so, of course, I had to yap for a good 20 minutes on the build up to that. So now I'm going to address that whole situation. Me and all of the old generations, all of the old leaders, all of the old generals, all of the old guys that I used to do these groups with have been really bored. We do these game nights. We have our fun online. Hell, some of these people come with me to the events that I do in real life, that I go to. I'll get them the stipends. They'll go. We'll hang out. And all of this is fun. All this is fulfilling. You know, in some ways, it's more satisfying than when I used to make groups on Roblox. But the issue is, at the end of the day, you know, we will play other games and avoid Roblox simply because I'm retired. Simply because I made a video saying quit this game. Simply because I said that I would never return, and because it's in the past. And it's been proven through other people like Patrick that this philosophy is flawed, because that game that we so much hate, we have so much hate for it, that game is proven to rally high numbers. It's proven to bring in an income. It's proven to build projects that bring in hundreds of new players. The Vibe Tribe and most of the members that we've gained are not from the Bamazinis, my Gmod project. They're not from my Bannerlord Octavia project. They come from Patrick's groups that he's continued to make on Roblox since the video that I made saying to quit the game. This is a really big deal because it shows that if we want to build and maintain this online community, we are not going to do it through other projects. We're not going to do it by having game nights. And we're not going to do it by telling people just to be political and come with me to these events. Because not everyone's political. Not everyone wants to be a conservative activist or commentator, because that's just not what everyone wants to do. It seems like the most realistic, best, greatest option is to literally create, for some autistic reason, it's to create a group on Roblox. And I don't know why that is. I'm not a magician. I'm not psychic. I'm not, by any means, some sort of prophetical apostle that can predict things on a whim. But based on my statistics and based on analytics and everything else, that's just how it is. And as someone that truly cares about my online community, the Vibe Tribe or the Richterians or whatever you want to call it, the best course of action would be to unironically create a new group. So now we have to answer the question of my return, because that doesn't really answer the question, does it? It's a complicated subject because it's a matter of timing, okay? Do I have the time? Do I not have the time? Okay. And the answer to that question is, well, that's where free time comes in. It's not like I'm working every day until Sunday, and the only thing I have is church and working out. I do have a lot of free time. It's usually at night, usually after 7 to 8, and I'm not so nice to go to bed early. So I have another 5 hours to stay up. I'm no longer dating, okay? So that opens up more free time that I could have spent an entire weekend with someone that I don't have to spend. On top of that, I'm finishing up college. My college semester this semester only has 2 courses. Usually it's 4 to 6. Lastly but not least, eventually I'm going to be finishing up RCIA in the Catholic Church. And that's been very time consuming. And I'm not complaining, but that's also very time consuming because I've been investing a lot of time into the church. When all of those things are done, and by the way, in the summertime, I won't be in college, and my current job that I'm working, it won't be as demanding in the summer, I will have a lot more free time to where I did back in the day. That will give me 3 months to do whatever I want. Obviously, eventually, I'm going to get my high-level job. I'm going to get my promotion from my job and do real management work and whatnot, which will take up a lot of time. But in theory, if we start up a new group, Octavia, and we get that off the road, we get that started up, and we get that launched and ready to go, and I spend all my free time working on this, and then we get it all done, and it's a successful Satonia by the month of, let's say, September, then I don't have to worry about being active. I don't have to work hard. I don't have to build much. The group can run on its own. It's proven that people like Patrick can help run these groups while I'm away, and all I have to do is be an oversight. So the issue of having to spend a lot of my time invested in this game is not there. That still doesn't really answer the question of me coming back. So here's going to be my response, and here's going to be my answer to that. There is a high possibility that I will come back. Having said everything that I just said, all of what I just said contributes to a high possibility of me returning to this game. The reason why I'm not certain is because I really don't know. A month from now, DDoSing could be run rampant again. All the groups that are currently active and bustling could die, and that could threaten my group. Another example is maybe people don't want me to return. Maybe the masses are against that idea, and maybe people would rather I just keep doing what I'm doing in real life, and that means they won't put any effort if I produce a group. If I'm going to make a group, put out a project, and invest hours, days, and weeks of my time helping to build a group for all of you, then it's going to require an investment. Everyone that's going to embrace this idea is going to have to help me because it's been almost 3 years. You think after 3 years I'm going to remember how to give a speech in a video game, or how I'm going to be able to, I don't know, embrace the persona of a Lego dictator? That kind of sounds weird. When I put it like that, it sounds weird, but that's my point. And so I'm not Iron Man. Neither am I Jesus Christ. And if I'm going to do something like this, it's going to require every single person to put forth all their effort, put forth their money, put forth their time, and be active and be productive for it. And I don't know if everyone can do that. So I'm not saying that to demoralize everyone. I'm sure that if I return to this platform, this group will be able to rival Teutonia. It will be able to rival groups that are dominating this platform and are doing really well. I have zero doubts that will be a reality and a possibility. But if everyone thinks that I will do it all by myself and do it alone and receive no help or assistance, I cannot promise or guarantee that. And I'm not going to return to a platform where I do not have that level of activity, manpower, or resources, because that's humiliation for me. Now, that's very unlikely to happen. I doubt that will happen. But that's why I am currently in uncertainty. If I wake up tomorrow and the group is deleted, I'm not going to want to return to that. That's why I am not guaranteeing it, because I would rather just remain in my quote-unquote retirement, if you'd like to even call it at this point, based on how involved I've been, than return to such a humiliation if that was the reality. And so that's the response to that question. I'm going to address one more thing, and then that'll be all for this video, which will obviously be under the same format as the last video. It's just a big, long video with no editing, no B-roll, no music. It's all just raw content, because this is genuinely how I feel. It's more or less me venting how I feel for food of thought. So, what is this new group? Most of you guys already know. But the idea would be this. Octavian would be a group of 3 branches. It would have an army, a regime, and a sentinel vanguard. The army is the army. The regime is like a police force mixed with a government, bureaucracy. They register the businesses, the paramilitaries, the judicial work, but they also do a lot of the police work in the town. And the vanguard will be like this elite stormtrooper division branch of all the elites, all the fanatics, all the people that I consider extremely loyal. And they'll be placed in divisions where they can do intelligence, spy work, they can do guarding work, they can do loyalty enforcement work, that sort of thing. That's how it's going to be set up, which is very ambitious, because that's 3 branches. That's a lot of manpower. The game will be set up where it will be a big game like Teutonia. It will have the raiding map aspect, it will have the town aspect, and then it will have like an in-between aspect where you have like the control points, you have the raiders team and everything else, but you also have these rural areas of the map. Maybe you have my own residence, but it will act like Teutonia's map, where you have the huge town, you have the raid map. The difference between us and Teutonia is that we care about the civilian activity. There will be businesses, there will be shops, scripting, factories. Our town will be actually active. It will be prioritized over the idea of the raid map. And so there will be things to do, there will be paramilitaries, there will be a lot of aspects that will keep the town active, unlike other groups where the town is more or less a background piece. I don't want to spend this video talking too much about what the group is going to be. I'd rather keep that for those who are actually interested, but that's the main gist of Octavian. And so, if I don't return, which is very unlikely, then what's going to happen is I'm going to be in oversight, and it's going to be like, I'm going to not be really back, but I'm going to be overseeing everything. And most people would not like that. I've talked to most people, and they would, even though, there are some people, and honestly, very people have told me that this is a bad idea, just so everyone knows. And so if people truly feel that way, you need to communicate that more, because I've only had a couple people that are online tell me that. The people that have told me it's a bad idea are people that are also retired. They're not in real life friends. They're not family. They're not anyone that I know in real life or in business. Ironically, all those people have encouraged it. All those people have encouraged me to do something on this game, because they can just tell that I used to really enjoy and love it. They enjoy the content that I made on YouTube and think that this game had a big role in who I am today. And I've said this before, I don't deny that, but again, that's very interesting, and it's weird to me, because when I retired, I never expected that to be the reaction that I was going to be given in real life. I had a completely different take on everything, and because of my exposure to other people and their opinions, and because a lot of things have changed since then, that changes how I feel about the whole quote-unquote retirement. And so people can say I'm wishy-washy. People can say that I just have no spine and I just flip-flop all the time, which is not true if you know me. Anyone that knows me knows that I have a spine. I haven't changed my political views since I was like 13. But anyway, 14. But it's, that's just how I feel. I feel that that's just how it is. It's just that simple. So I might do a group. It might be successful. It might be the big next thing. I mean, hell, it might be so successful that I'll start using it to funnel clips on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube of my personality and character and my takes on things, you know? But there's not going to be a dynasty. There's not going to be an ideology. There's not going to be any edgy, weird nonsense. It's going to be a normal group. There's going to be loyalty, okay? I'm not going to say there's no loyalty because there will be. But it's not going to be executed in a weird or unoptical or, for lack of a better word, an antisocial way. You know, everything is going to be done in a way that is appealing to everyone. It's not going to be, it shouldn't be unappealing to anyone. And that's not because of like peer pressure, because I'm trying to appeal to people that don't like me. That's just because I don't think there's a need for a in-game dynasty or an in-game ideology. A lot of that stuff was just over the top. I think it was just unnecessary, and I think that it wasn't. You know, people can just be loyal to me. You don't need to say that you're a richterist to be loyal to Alexander. I'm freaking Alexander. You think I need an ideology or a dynasty to accumulate loyalty? I mean, come on now. If I came back, that's just unnecessary. I think I'm much more confident in myself than I am a function of a dynasty and ideology that could come back. But that's what this video is. And so expect more content in the future. Expect this channel to reopen, and we're going to have more videos. You know, they're going to be edits, they're going to be commentaries, you know, and they will be edited. They're not going to be raw content. They will be edited videos. I just want to quickly get this video out there on a Friday afternoon so that people are informed. And that's just currently what I have planned. That's just how things are, and that's just how I feel. And if you disagree, okay, you can communicate that. I'm not against that. But, you know, I'm not going to change what I have planned. Neither am I going to change my mind, okay? Unless the vast majority of people that play this game think it's a really bad idea. If the majority of people that play this game are too busy for it and don't think it's a good idea, then fair enough. I know that I said this game was addicting, okay? Maybe it is. But I've been able to quit for 3 years. So, you know, and I think that's just kind of cartoonish. You know, I think addicting is kind of accurate. Some of you guys left comments and said, you know, this game I've been playing for 5 years and I just can't stop joining other groups. You're so right. And it's like, you know, maybe for other people that's true. But, you know, I've been off the game for 3 years. If I ever returned, I wouldn't play this game religiously. It would be like a every couple hours kind of ordeal. I would run it like a business. I would run my groups like a business, and I would run it like I'm a game developer. So, I don't think if I run my games like a game developer, that's such a big deal. Now, if I was playing it every single day for hours on end, you know, then there'd be cause for concern. But I think that addiction, calling this game an addiction, I think if I told people in real life, like, oh, I quit the game, I mean, that's more ridiculous than playing this game. Just so everyone knows, just to be clear. I think that going in real life and saying, oh, I can't play that game is just an addicting drug, people will find that to be more laughable and annoying than if you play this game for an hour in your free time. But maybe that's just me. So that being said, I think I've hit the nail on the head. Refill your popcorn and stay tuned, because the best is yet to come.